Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Sally. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Got the tree up.
How's Toronto?
It's a little brisk, I won't lie. It's quite chilly the past few days. Apparently it's going to get colder, but cold and gray, but we have some snow, and I always feel like that feels very wintry. I kind of like the snow. If you're going to be cold, at least give me some snow. How about you there in Virginia?
Yes, outside of DC, it's frigid. I will say I came from Art Basel in Miami, very lucky to be able to attend a massive art show, and it was very warm and wonderful. But now I'm back in the
slightly different weather than DC.
Slightly different. I did miss the snow though, so
yeah,
it's kind of a bummer. It is magical. So,
do you have snow there now?
No, it just feels like snow.
Yeah. No, we've had quite a few snow days, or not snow days, but like big flurries, and you can barely see. And I do love that. I'm a Four Seasons kind of guy, even though I complain about the cold.
We had our executive strategic retreat on Niagara on the lake. What's that like in the winter?
It's nice. So that area gets a bit more snow than we do here in the city, but it's a bit more south, so and the water gives it a bit of like they have a microclimate there. That's why they do all the wines and some really good growing there. So it's not too bad, but they definitely can get some snow in that area, and it's beautiful. Like I actually like seeing the falls in the winter and that whole area because it just feels very magical.
It's so cute, and with the vineyards and ice wine, like it's just a cute area.
Yeah, ice wine. That's a thing down there for sure. Super tasty. I like it.
Well, for everyone that's joined earlier, Jeff and I used to be partners and work together in a concierge company, so we could talk about travel and towns all day long. But today we're going to talk about AI. So we're going to get started here in just a minute. So
1 minute away. In the spirit of giving, we're giving away something today.
Yes, I love it. Okay.
Should put some little twinkle lights on your tree behind you, Sally.
Yes, our little office, sad little office tree.
Just give it a little sparkle.
It used to have lights. I don't know where they went. That's so sad. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome, Jeff.
Welcome everyone. Thanks, Sally. Good to see you again.
Great to see you. Thanks for joining me. Jeff Kramp is my partner in crime here. We're with VIPdesk, and we're going to be taking you through this webinar today where we talk about AI and a CX starter toolkit. We want to be able to give you things that you can use if you're looking to implement AI for your customer service operation. We've had success doing it with clients. And so now in these webinars, we're trying to give back and share with others, whether you outsource your customer service operation or whether you do it yourself and you're looking at AI. We've been doing it, so we want to be able to share with you our experience and give you tangible tools that will help you. So we're recording this, obviously, and we'll make it available after if you don't have a chance to stay on for the full time, or if you're just watching us in a recorded version. So thanks everyone for joining us. We're going to jump in.
Awesome.
So today we are going to cover, what does the 6-week roadmap look like if you're looking to implement AI for your customer service operation? What are the team skills and how can you do that assessment? Because no matter what, today you have an existing team, again, whether that's internal or outsourced, they have a certain set of skills. And when you implement AI, you need different skills, but a lot of those amazing humans have exactly what's needed to do this new kind of work. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about priority use case scenarios, like how you determine what to automate first. And then we're going to talk about benchmark, basically where your automation stands today or day one, which is probably zero. If you're looking to implement, then you don't have anything automating, then it's probably zero. And what are the benchmarks of what you can expect to see? And then we'll wrap it up with actual project plan. And we're happy to provide all of this after. So again, we're trying to be helpful here today, share our experience. Jeff is our Chief AI Officer and guru, and we're going to hear quite a bit from him today. So with that, let's jump in. Jeff?
Yeah, so we're looking at to get our roadmap here, and this, if you've implemented technologies before, this may seem quite aggressive, but AI and the way you implement it, if you do it strategically, you can be looking at like 0 to being launched and ready in the public and getting that automation number within 6 weeks. So that is definitely doable, but you do need a plan, and it always, as most plans do, start with preparation. So you just need to confirm that you have everything. You have to have a partner because you need a platform or at least internal resources to build one. And then by week 2, you should be knee deep into your knowledge. So data and knowledge are the drivers of the success for this type of an implementation. These AI models need to know what's going on and what you want to tell customers and people. And so that is huge. And that is something that will carry on throughout the project and then beyond. But you want to get out of the gate doing your knowledge prep. Once you've done that, you got to build that. Take that knowledge and build out your flows, build out your prompts, build out your AI conversations, your agents, as you will, and get that to the point where you are ready to test. And then this may seem very truncated, but you can move quite fast. And a lot of times you can use AI to help your AI deployment. So it's quite remarkable. And then a big part of this, and this is where you're going to have a lot more involvement, is test and tuning those models and those agents. Rarely does it work exactly as you expect out of the gate, and there's a lot of refinement you need to do just to make sure you have the tone of your business and that you're meeting your customers' needs and you're not sort of adding to the frustration. You're actually solving issues. And then when you launch, you can do a soft launch. This is not like you're doing a major shift where you're changing platforms or you're doing anything. This is something that's going to augment your service. And so you're going to get it out there and you want to have the public use it and then continually evaluate. And then in the final weeks, you're going to optimize and scale. And this is week 6, but this is actually going to carry on forever as you try to improve the service and increase those automation rates. You want to make sure that you've got everybody assigned in the roles and they're comfortable, that you are meeting your goals. And if not, why not? And really just sort of go on and plan to expand that deployment. So you don't have to do it all at once. We're not looking at taking all interactions and all channels and everything. You can do this as a staged approach, but once you get going, it's like a runaway train. So one of the things going to happen is, we talked about at the beginning, you got to prepare, you got to have your platform, but your people are important too, as always. So you have great people in your organization. What are the skills that they have that can translate over to having a successful AI deployment? And so you're going to want to look at some of your top agents. Maybe they become the trainers, the conversation reviewers. They are living the front lines, right? So they know what good service looks like. That's an amazing tool and a resource for you. Your QA analysts. Well, this is just another agent, just a really productive agent. And so that QA analyst can be looking at the bot conversations and looking in that quality, and is everything happening the way it was planned to happen? Because it is a bit of a black box of AI. So you still need that sort of outside eye looking in on it. Your team lead. So you do need somebody to manage the bot and manage the project and make sure you're meeting your SLAs and your executables. So you need to have someone run that. And if they're used to running a team and running a program, then that's a great mapping over of that. Knowledge manager, this is huge. So this would be someone who's doing your LMS or trainings or whatnot. They now need to train the bot. And so that starts with your content, but also the prompts. So just like you would guide an agent and give them sort of skills to improve on, you would do the same thing with a bot. And so that role is really pivotal and really maps out really well. And then your workforce analyst people, they've got to sort of pivot from sort of scheduling people to looking at what's being automated, what's being escalated, because you still need people to handle that. And maybe those trends and patterns are different. And things like AHT are going to change, and your volumes and maybe where people are coming from, because now you have 24/7 service, or maybe different language requirements for those escalations. So you have all the great people in your organization, and they can map over to these roles. So we're not going to have to go hire a brand new army of people to service this new platform. You can have those people out of the gate.
That's so true. So we wanted to give an example of two of the roles and how they would maybe map over to new roles. And I think you just said it, Jeff. I mean, you're not going to go hire a whole new team. You have fabulous people. They have incredible knowledge and expertise in your business, in your process, in your customer experience, your brand. Like, that's invaluable. And frankly, they're going to be the people looking for increases. If they can combine that with the AI level, we'll talk about this in a second, but if they're open to it and they can handle new technologies and they're super enthusiastic and they've got the knowledge, they own the keys to the future for customer service. So here, meet Susie. One of the roles is today, right? We have all these different roles in the customer experience, customer contact world. QA analysts, they have, all kinds of phenomenal skills that have to do with, having empathy, having the ability to analyze results and understand the data. And then if you're going to map them to become a bot reviewer, they're going to need the expertise of tuning the entire interaction. Like, they understand what good looks like. And so you're going to have a person who has the expertise that Susie has, being able to help establish that, gatekeep it a bit, keep it on track, and then look at new responsibilities, including, handling the generated responses, reviewing them, approving them. You need somebody who has the expertise from a QA perspective. They're the ones that are, I don't want to say it this way, but evaluating the experience today. And so they are probably really close to knowing what it should be. So they're perfect for being basically a bot reviewer.
100%.
And then the next role, which is just, I think, even more critical. So the people in your training team, probably a knowledge manager, and those people have all the keys, because they manage the content, they manage the SOPs, the policies, they probably own FAQ management, and they're at the tip of the pulse of what's happening, because if a business rolls out a new product line, that's the person that's typically preparing training materials for the team. So they're the first person that usually is connected to product development or whatever's coming out. They're integrating that into the current operation. And guess what? You go to implement AI. If you were working with us, Jeff would say, okay, show us your content. It's like, show us the money. Show us your content. If you don't have content, you cannot implement AI. But if you of course you do. Everybody does. Everybody says, oh, it's not in tip-top shape, and that's totally fine too. I loved earlier, Jeff, when you said you can use AI to implement AI. I mean, we're in a crazy time. So you can use AI to help you with your content if it's not in tip-top shape. But in terms of new responsibilities, they would be critical, helping with the bot ingestion of that content, policies, and detail work. So I think this is a fun process, again, for team members that are open to it.
And I think one thing to add, Sally, you talk about the skills here. And so on paper, of course, Bob and Susie look perfect for the roles. But one thing you sort of have to look at overall is everyone's mindset, because this is a big shift, right? It changes industries across the board, but definitely in customer service. So they have to be open to new technologies. They have to be open to change and really embrace the tools. Like your knowledge manager, they may be very keen in how they write certain things, but you have to change your writing a little bit for the bot. So maybe then they have to embrace AI to go through the content, identify gaps and all of that. So you really have success if everyone has that mindset and they're all aligned.
Absolutely.
All right, so we talked about the timeline of the project, but then you're also going to have a timeline for your people because they've got current responsibilities. They're going to have to shift, maybe learn some new tools, different ways of doing things. So again, you're going to have those top agents. They're going to maybe come in as conversation reviewers or trainers. And you're going to look at that at, again, 2 to 3 week timing because they have to go through and sort of either translate their knowledge into the bot and so forth. Your QA analyst, this is definitely going to come into play week 3 and 4 because you have to have the knowledge. You have to have the agents and the prompts all fine-tuned, but then you're going to be doing testing and they're going to make sure that this is ready for the public. This is at the bar that they've set for the agents, also making sure that the bot's at that same bar. The team lead, so they're really going to take on the handoff as you sort of go into production, you go live, making sure that like all the stakeholders are happy with the performance, that you've got those metrics realigned to what you're actually seeing with your automation, and that everybody sort of is on the same page with all of that. So they're really running that show. And then your knowledge manager, we talked about that out of the gate, week 2, right? You've got your platform, you've got your plan. That knowledge manager needs to be there. Okay, how do we stand with our knowledge? Like, are we in a good place? Or do we have a lot of gaps? Do we have just sort of rough notes taken down somewhere that we need to rewrite? Because you do want them to be, it's sort of garbage in, garbage out when it comes to bots. If you have good quality knowledge going in, you have really good quality knowledge coming out. And then that analyst, WFM analyst, they're really going to be looking at that performance once you go live. So up until then, they just need to be aware, of course, the project and everything. But they're going to be looking at the numbers. What's being escalated? Is there certain times of the day? Is there certain regions of the world that are being escalated at different variables? And then what does our new staffing model look like? And what does that AI model look like, especially with the plan of ramping up that automation? So having them really jump in towards the end is key. So that way you've got this sort of staggered approach. It really makes it easy to manage and everyone's sort of carrying along at the right part of the timeline.
So this is one of the things that we can provide. What are the top 5 traits per roles? This is just a sample of a few things that we'll offer up to you after this webinar. But I think it's helpful to identify what you're looking at for each of the roles, from the AI trainer, bot reviewer, bot manager, content and prompt curator, automation performance analyst, or bot. But there's lots of roles like this in the current environment for the typical contact center for customer experience. And so we put these together, and I think, just to reiterate what you said, Jeff, you could look at these top traits and they sound very similar to what you need in the new roles, top traits today with the current roles and how they map once you've mapped them. And then you look at the top traits that you need in the new role. They look very similar, but there's a couple of critical differences. And what we've experienced, you need a team that's like, I think, Jeff, between us, you said they need to be all in. So adaptable, open to change, embrace new technology. I would say be curious and be flexible, because you don't want to be like, oh, well, who has the answer? Sometimes nobody has the answer, right? So we're all in this together. A lot of it's new. A lot of it you can figure out with the team. But I think the mentality, call it mentality attributes or traits, would be in addition to this. Because if you get what did you say earlier, Jeff, to me? If you have a, but.
Right. Yeah.
If you have but blah, 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 like it won't be as good as what humans do in this way and that. That is a big red flag for people that you're going to need to get behind this, that we are not talking about, eradicating human beings in the customer experience. We're saying we need to all adapt to the new environment. I think about the red phone booths in London, like they were beautiful, but I'm actually, that's probably a bad example. I know how they're used today, but they are still beautiful. So, but adapt, being able to adapt in this environment. And you could say, well, we're not there yet. Our industry isn't there yet. AI isn't coming yet.
Right.
It's coming, and it is coming. So, getting ahead of the curve and mapping out who you have today, what are their traits, and doing something from a culture perspective that fosters curiosity and change. Because, and I, if I wasn't talking to fellow business leaders and we were talking to your team, I'd be like, get enthusiastic, use ChatGPT, become knowledgeable, like further your own curiosity, because the future of your roles is evolving regardless.
Yeah, culture is key that you touched on there. I think that's really keen, and you're going to hear things like, but that's not the way we've done it before, or this kind of thing. It's constantly evolving and changing, and that's even going forward. I think that's why you said that curiosity is a good thing, because like everybody has an idea of how to utilize these tools, but it's changing constantly. We're even reevaluating. Like I'm doing a lot of coding stuff, and the methodologies about how you go about doing that, everyone's got their opinion, and it changes. A new model comes out, it now takes on some of this stuff. And so you're going to constantly be evolving, and having people that embrace the evolution of that is so huge. All right. So we've talked about platform, we've talked about timelines, we've talked about the people. Now we got to talk about the content from a customer perspective. So this is your reason for contact or your disposition, or everybody's got their own terms, but you really want to tackle this in a strategic way that's really going to give you a good solid ROI, a good success, excuse me, out of the gate. And so you're going to look at the reasons for contact. So you're going to be automating your digital channel probably first, then maybe moving to voice, but take a look at what's in the bucket that you are going to be automating. You're going to be feeding through your new AI channel and taking a look at what are the easy wins. So anything that's like a tier one that you have access to resources. If you're using Shopify, they've got great hooks you can hook into, and you can be providing stuff to customers fast, efficiently, very conversational, and you're going to get that automation rate out of the gate. So if you're like at 50% order status information, that's a no-brainer. Password resets, those type of things, that's a great win out of the gate. Knowing those volumes, because you're going to have to put effort into them. So you don't want to put a lot of effort into something that's going to move the needle like 0.5%, especially out of the gate. Eventually you're going to get to that point, but you want to look at those reasons for contact, and then also the tools that are needed to service those. So if it's knowledge, great. If it's tools and you got like some internal system that you can't hook into, well, you can't count that right now, but maybe you can add that to your timeline now, because you're going to see the ROI of automation. And then when you get into things like warranty claims, maybe you're going to be manipulating data. You might want to save that for like a phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, because you're going to have lessons learned where you're going to have to make sure those guardrails are in place and everything's good. So there might be some good wins there from an automation standpoint, but you want to be pretty mature in your deployment to take on the higher risk. I use the quotes for that because it's not really risk, but you just have to be making sure you're checking all your boxes from what the bot can do, and are those guardrails in place.
Right. And the warranty may require another integration to make it, function fully. So that's another consideration, to sort of stagger those.
Yeah. And I think too, like it's always not, and just to kind of go a bit into the weeds, it's not always black and white. Maybe the bot can do like the first 50, 75% of the warranty process, and then you have a human come in, validate, and go.
Yeah.
So it's again, you can get wins there where maybe a 10-minute human interaction is now a 1-minute human interaction. That's still a huge ROI savings there, and it helps you scale the business. All right, so goals. So we've talked about goals and alignment in some of these other series here. You want to make sure that all the players are involved, all the stakeholders are on the same page. What are your goals? What are your timelines, and all of that? So what you're going to be looking at is, what is your goal for automation? So digital and voice are going to be very different, right? You're not going to call in and listen to the robot read you a 3-page article on how to do something. Maybe you are, but that's not common. There's going to be certain channels that are appropriate as there are now, what's the best channel for that? And digital is easy win. You don't have as high of a cost because you have to transcribe the voice to text and then back to voice, and there's other layers involved. So you're going to have less automation, more cost, and more complexity. So save that for a phase 2. But what is it realistically? So when you look at those reasons for contact, what are you seeing for what you would think of as easy wins? And this is going to be a ballpark. Once you go live, you'll know what they are. But you're going to start off maybe with nothing. Maybe you just have a chatbot that doesn't really do anything and it just frustrates people, which is pretty common. Where are you going to go, right? So look at the things. You have a lot of really complex tasks. This might be a bit lower if you use a lot of human involvement, but we're seeing like 60% automation with just the content and the tools that clients have already. So that's pretty amazing if you think about that from your cost structure and your volume. Not to mention we're getting 24/7 and all the languages supported. So that it's like this box could actually just be a huge list of wins.
Yeah.
Your CSAT and quality, that's another one. So like, is the goal, like maybe you're struggling with your service, and this is a great way to ramp up that quality because the conversations are efficient, they're exact, they're just helping people with what they need. You're not making them jump through hoops, and it's just like, how can I help you? You type in your question, you get your answer. It's pretty amazing. So we see an increase in CSAT right out of the gate. So is that going to be something you want to measure? Probably. Is it going to be a goal you're going to have? I would think so. It's a good goal to have because then that QA person or any of your experts, your knowledge people, they can be targeting these goals. Why are we not hitting those quality marks? Does our prompt need tweaking? Does our knowledge need improvement? Is it out of date? Are we missing those new products? Like, is that knowledge person maybe not in the loop with product deployment? So that's all really important. Another factor is your AHT. So if you have a lot of like really complex requests that the bot's not going to handle, those are still being handled by your human agents. However, those are like the bulk of their interactions. So the law of averages, you don't have those tier 1 and tier 2 requests, bringing that AHT down. Your AHT is actually going to go up. So that may be a concern. Everyone might be like, oh no, but your volume is way down. So it's going to be fine from a cost perspective, but you have to factor that in. Workforce needs to know that when they're factoring it, because now all of our requests are tier 3 requests. And so that's a process. So setting that expectation, I think, is important, and then measuring it as you go along. And then, of course, on the operations side, you're going to want to measure your cost per interaction. Like, what was it before? What is it now? What could it be if we maybe add a new tool? Maybe we've got this old system that, we've got to spend money to develop it or move on to a modern platform. Well, maybe this is the justification because you're going to see that cost per interaction go down. And then your timeline to build. So we talk here, we've seen 4 weeks, 6 weeks is realistic. What is that timeline looking what to do? The bigger your bucket, of course, the longer the timeline, but you don't have to. This is not like other technologies where you're again, like you're making a shift. This is something you're injecting into your flow, and you're going to keep stacking upon that. So out of the gate, take the easy win. Go for a 6-week digital interactions, high volume reasons for contact, and you won't be disappointed.
Sorry, if we could go back one slide really quickly. You mentioned AHT going up. I was just going to make a recommendation. So if you are implementing this, and you're sharing these two things in the middle, CSAT and AHT. So if you're sharing CSAT, I think it's interesting and would be worthwhile to share it by the reason for contact type, so that you can, you want to celebrate, yay, our CSAT went up. But what's happening is, what we've seen is humans are getting the more difficult things and their CSATs are going down. The AHT is going up with the humans. So if you're not careful, an executive team might look at rolled up numbers and be like, what's happening to our CSAT with our humans? And I think that might help if you look at it by, if you can splice it that way, contact type or, wrap code, whatever you call it, reason for contact. And then you can really start to see, okay, in fairness, it's not really about the human. I mean, sometimes it is, but sometimes it's about the type, and it's not their fault that the policy is tricky or the product has quirks or bugs or whatever we are seeing. But I think it's worth just elaborating on
Yeah,
that.
I think
I can't help.
that's a really good point, Sally. I think it's one of those things that, yeah, if you don't map this out and set those expectations, it very much could look like, well, why don't we just automate everything? Because our humans are terrible. And it's not that. You're kind of like leaving them with these requests where, like, especially if you do easy escalation with your bot and the bot says, no, that's our policy. And then the human goes, no, there's nothing I can do for you. It's going to be like, now, can you rate me a thumbs up, thumbs down? Well, that human didn't help me. So like, it's really, the context matters and expectation matters. So I think that's a really good point. CSAT by reasons for contact is helpful not only for this, but also an indication of like, maybe we should relook at our policies. Maybe this return policy is not good. It's really driving down our CSAT. So it's not about the people, it's about the policy. And so that gives you much more transparency.
Or let's say you're a luxury brand and you're all about scarcity. Well, then you kind of expect that, and that's your baseline, because not everybody can have that item, and that's what they want, that exclusivity. So it's complicated. I don't know if consumers understand how difficult implementing and running a customer service operation really is. But as we jump to sort of what does a plan look like? We have an actual project plan we're happy to share with you as well. But this is so much easier, I'm sorry, than implementing a traditional customer service operation where you have your switch and your CRM and your knowledge base and your learning management, your quality tool, and where are you putting the content, your FAQs and your training materials. I mean, you think about implementing customer service, probably everybody on this call already knows what's involved. From the heavy lift is always the technology, sorry, Jeff, and the content for training. Do we have training materials? Anybody? So this is much easier. You do need content and you do need people with the expertise. I will say that. But it moves much quicker, and this is probably not a truly accurate reflection of multiple things are happening at the same time, especially when it comes to the same things that you see in a typical contact center implementation, which is the knowledge, gathering of policies, product information, that type of content, as well as the technology, which is just much easier to implement. But still, you do have certain things that will be happening at the same time. And we're happy to provide a more comprehensive plan that would show you all those steps.
I think too. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just was going to reiterate what you said, which is, implement the easy stuff and then stack it on like that. Just, easy and stack, right. Easy and stack.
And I think too, one of the things that makes the implementation faster is you have a lot more a variety of skill sets that can participate. So it's not like everyone's tech department is always the bottleneck, right? We're really busy. We're doing the important stuff. And so it's one of those things that like, oh, well, we need, even if people who've done sort of traditional automated chatbot flows, that's your tech people, like connecting nodes and mapping out these really complex webs of what a conversation looks like. Well, now you stepping back and you have people who are really good at writing or really know your products, and they're involved. Your quality people are involved, and they're like, oh, well, can you say it this way or that way? And so when you have all these other people that can come together and build this thing, you get tremendous overlap, and those bottlenecks kind of go away. So that's one of the great things about it, and allows you to upskill your people because now they're involved in not just doing this, but this and working with AI. And that looks great for them.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it, right, Jeff, for today?
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. What we're going to do is put together a downloadable, I'll call it another toolkit that will have, the 5 core traits for each of the AI support roles. It'll have an implementation project plan. Those are kind of the key components. Jeff, am I missing?
No, I think that sounds good. The traits, the timeline, and the just project plan is essentially what you need to get going. Yeah.
So you can also reach out to us directly. Our email addresses are very easy. You probably can't see it on this, or if I can't see it. and I don't think it exists, but it's Sally at VIPdesk.com and Jeff at VIPdesk. V as in Victor, IPdesk.com. So don't hesitate to reach out. We're happy to connect. If you've had this experience and you're already midway implementing, or you've already implemented and you just want to connect, we just love connecting with others that are, moving forward in this space and finding that path forward that is inevitable for everybody. So
right, and sharing helps. Like, everyone has different experiences, and like unlike other technologies in the past, there's not like, here's the manual where you do step 1, step 2, step 3. It's always evolving. We've come up with what we feel is a really good system. We do this for clients. We build out these implementations and these flows. So we're happy to share that, but we know everybody is doing their own thing. So we love that feedback and have that conversation, and then we can always adapt it and change the way we do things, even if it's better.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you, Jeff, as always, master of all things AI. Thank you for joining.
Well, thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.